Welcome to Greenville, South Carolina. Local time 1:45 a.m. All right, well, I'm here. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina. I just got off my train, local time 2 a.m. Amtrak totally hates me. I pretty much just got drunk in the lounge car the entire time, and they definitely knew. But yeah, I was kind of pissed off to pay for Amtrak, like I told you. But in retrospect, really, Amtrak is really fun. It's a pretty good time. You get to meet people. It's comfortable, blah, blah, blah. And given the current administration, aka Trump, he's cutting funding for Amtrak, and they really need our support right now. So, even though I paid, I'm happy to give them my money, and you should give them your money too. Amtrak is a pretty, crucial service for a lot of people in rural areas in America, and they need our support right now. So, go by train. And get drunk while you do it. Over. 3 a.m. A northbound just pulled up. Okay, well, I'm here in Greenville waiting. I got off the Amtrak last night at 2 a.m. and pretty much just walked straight down the tracks to get on the train. There was already one right there, and it was making noises like it was about to move. So I walked down the tracks, found a good high wall grain car, and was climbing the ladder to get in when, what do you know, the rail cop, or maybe local police, or maybe even just a railroad employee, I don't know who really, comes driving down the tracks, comes around the corner, and their lights are just blaring right in my face. So I knew that I had obviously been seen. I was caught totally off guard, it was 2 a.m. Greenville isn't really a big town. Definitely not a big rail operation. I was pretty surprised they had someone out there looking. I think it's possible that the guy I was sitting next to on the Amtrak reported me. He was an old timer from Georgia, a rail fan, and he was just joyriding Amtrak. It's kind of weird. But yeah, we got to talking about trains for a while. And eventually he asked me where I was from, blah, 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 where I'm going, what I'm going to do when I get here. And so I figured I'd spill the beans. He seemed cool enough, and he liked trains. So I told him, that I was going to get on a freight train. And he didn't seem too happy about that. So I think it's quite possible he called. It seems like the only reason they'd have someone out here driving around at 2 a.m. But yeah, so somebody came and saw me. I just climbed over the train and kept walking down the tracks till I got to the bridge right here. And I hung out right there for a while and just watched him. Excuse me. He got out of his car, started checking the train, looking in the bushes, shining his mag light around. Definitely looked like law enforcement, truthfully, the way he was behaving. And yeah, then began the game of cat and mouse. He looked for me, then he turned his light off, turned his car off, and just waited for me to come back out. I know most of their tricks at this point. He thought if he laid low, I'd kind of make myself known again. But I didn't. I just kind of waited up here on the bridge in the dark, keeping an eye on him. I don't know, after like 30 or 45 minutes probably, the train aired up and started to move. So I got on a different grain car. But the train only went, I don't even know, a couple hundred feet, really. It just pulled forward, and then he began to search it again. So I got on and hid. I laid down. They had a railroad employee walk up the side of the train, so while I was laying down on my grain car, he walked right by me. He really wasn't looking very hard. He was kind of like listening for me, just seeing if he could see anything out there. Yeah. And then a guy with a light started coming up the train, and I figured that was probably the real rail cop or whoever had been looking for me. And at that point, I just decided I'm going to get off. I'm not going to risk getting caught on the train again. Uh-oh, cops. Man, these assholes are everywhere out here. I'm getting pretty irritated with the law enforcement in this strip. They've just been all over me. But yeah, pretty much, long story short, with last night, they tried to do this thing where they fake like the train is about to move. They'll air it up, they'll make it make noises, they'll even pull it forward very slowly, in the hopes of luring you out, is what they're trying to do. And it worked twice, you know. I got off and on and off and on. And the third time they did this, I realized, you know, what they were doing, that they were trying to lure me out and catch me on the train. It was 5 a.m. by that point, and I was totally exhausted. So I just got off and found a spot to sleep. And yeah, slept for 3 or 4 hours, whatever. And that's pretty much where I'm at now. I just went and bought some coffee and then walked down here to this railroad bridge to get back on. And now the local cops are driving around all over out here. He drove by me, and as soon as he saw me, he flipped a U-turn and just parked facing me. I didn't have my backpack on, so I don't know if he completely made me. But I think the fact that I'm hanging out by the railroad might have given him an idea of what I'm up to. So I think I'm gonna have to hang out and bide my time again and just wait for them to get lost. This is really irritating though. Yeah. Alright, well that cop took off after half an hour or whatever, after that train left. And yeah, I used it as an opportunity to move. I'm now like up a pretty steep hill, through all sorts of scrub above a swamp. I don't think anybody's going to be coming here to look for me. The track is right behind me, 15 feet. Yeah, I think I just pretty much have to hang out here. I'm attracting a lot of attention around here. I'm actually pretty surprised. Everybody's looking at me like they have never seen a backpack before. It's really irritating. So yeah, hopefully a train comes pretty soon and I can GTFO. I do not want to be in Greenville. Bad vibes. All right, this is my train. Here we go. Goodbye, Greenville. Oh, fuck. This was totally not here before. This is new. This is an inland port. I pray to God I'm not getting dropped off here. This might be really bad. Fuck. Okay. So something really bad might be happening right now. My train just stopped and broke air right here next to this intermodal facility, like an inland port, which is completely new. I just looked it up on my phone. It was built in 2014, and I didn't know about it. This train used to go all the way to Virginia. But it's possible that I'm going to be dropped off here, and then they're going to receive me into the port and break the train apart, and then I'm going to be stranded out here. What I'm hoping, though, is that we're picking up more to add to our train, but I have no idea. We'll have to find out. Thank God. Okay, we're moving now. They just pulled into the port right here and they picked up a block. They hooked it up to the train I'm on, and now we're on the road. That was pretty close. I've been dreading the day I get pulled into one of these intermodal facilities in the middle of nowhere for years. And, oh, cameras, I better get down. Well, today is not the day. All right. So there have been some very unexpected developments. Long story short, that train that I got on in the past would have gone north all the way to Lynchburg, Virginia, which would have put me in great reach of the Shenandoah Valley, which is where I'm trying to go. However, as you saw last night, there is now a new inland port in Greer, South Carolina, like 30 miles northeast of Greenville there. And I got taken there. Fortunately, I didn't get taken into the port, but they picked up a block there, and the train turned and headed for Charleston, South Carolina, which isn't entirely unexpected now that I know about that inland port. The inland port is an auxiliary port for the port of Charleston, South Carolina. It's pretty much just there to help them increase capacity from Charleston and kind of give them an extra place to sort and then put them onto tractor trailers and send them on the highway via truck. Anyway, that is completely unpredictable to me. There's really no way I could have known about that or the fact that trains now turn there to Charleston. So anyway, I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. It's kind of like halfway in between the two. I figured there was no sense in continuing on to Charleston. Neither of these towns are significant on the railroad network. There are trains that come through here, but I don't know how feasible it is to get one in a short amount of time. I'm definitely feeling some pressure right now. I have multiple people that I'm trying to see before I go back to the West Coast, and time is running out in a way. I have two options for getting out of here and getting back on track to where I'm going. One is a freight train right here on this track that I'm walking along, and that is choice number one. And at this point, it's seeming pretty possible. I definitely have a good feeling that that can happen. A southbound just passed me going the other way. If I do get on the train here, it will go to Linwood, North Carolina, which is a major GM hub and a through train crew change point. So I can get back on there and then get right back up to Lynchburg and over to Roanoke. And if that doesn't work, there's also an Amtrak here. But I'm really not trying to take Amtrak again. Not yet. I've planned on taking some Amtrak once I get up to Virginia. But South Carolina to Virginia is just too far. I'm not willing to do that much of this trip on Amtrak if I do not have to. So yeah, we're gonna hang out here by the tracks for a while. Somebody brought me a chair. And yeah, just gonna hope a train comes soon. Seaboard Sam, February 2010. That's a pretty classic tag right there. Hell yeah. Well, that train ended up taking the turn to Charleston, South Carolina as well. So I hopped off. I think my only option now, well, what I'm going to do anyway, is going to be to just go to where the track splits north, heading to North Carolina. And I'm just going to wait there at the split and catch one on the fly. Oh, yeah.